Absolutely. So maybe you can talk about, again, specifically the beings that have come to you that you feel were positive and why they were positive, how they conveyed themselves.
Well, yeah, positive, and then I'll say more on the neutral side of things, because that's more along the lines of unconditional love, where you just allow things to be, allow people to take their journey. So I express the knowledge that I do, and but I say people don't have to go where I'm going. Everybody's on their own journey, so you make up your own mind and go where you feel you need to go in life. So the beings were, well, where I come from personally is the blue star of Sirius, the star itself, not a planet around the star. So what we look like, if you look at Akhenaten and Nefertiti, that's what our race looks like. And the reason we come from the blue stars, because we're in a high vibration. So when you look at all the stars out there, they're actually all planets, but in a high dimensional plane in the universe. So that might help people understand the concept of different dimensional planes. And so the...
Hello?
Yeah. I'm still here.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hi, I'm sorry. Okay, right after you said that they look like Nefertiti and Akhenaten, which, is really fabulous to hear you say, would you fill in what you spoke about after that? Because I'm afraid you were breaking up at my end. I'm assuming that you're breaking up out there for other people as well.
Okay. What I said was that our star is actually a planet on a higher level. That's why, because it's a higher frequency, as viewed from the lower domains of the universe, it looks like a star. So all the stars out there are actually planets on a higher level. And it's understanding the difference in high dimensional planes. So it's like a platform, if you look at it like a platform of life. So if you look at all the stars out there, they're actually higher levels of life. And then life goes on from there. So
okay,
that's what
George,
I wanted to share.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, Kerry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why we're getting a lot of interference all of a sudden, but you started to say it's like a platform.
Yeah, it's like a platform. Okay, it's you look like when you look at the stars on the higher level, the stars are actually planets. And so if you look at all the stars out there as a platform of life, so when you go up into that vibrational plane, it just opens up to a new version of life. So when you come down into this level, you see them as stars.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. We've got a break coming up, and we'll be right back with George Kavassilas. We don't really have a way to take questions, although I'd love to be able to do so. I'm afraid it's going to be very difficult. I can try going into the chat room for text questions. If you want to try texting me at projectcamelot.org at my forum website on the chat room. Okay, this is Carrie Cassidy, Project Camelot Whistleblower Radio, and we are talking to George Kavassilas. And this is our last half hour of the show. We've actually made it through with me in South Africa and George in Australia using my cell phone on Skype, which is really quite amazing. Hopefully it's not going to cost me a fortune. But the things we do on the path to enlightenment, so to speak. At any rate, I'm going to try to go onto the chat room and give you a chance to ask George some questions, those of you who are listening out there live. And if we don't see any people there, or if I'm unable to sign in, then we'll just continue on our way here. George, we have, as I said, a half hour left, and I'm just wondering if there's some areas that you feel need to be touched on, because you have been speaking recently, and I would like to make sure to sort of touch the various areas that you feel are very crucial.
Yeah, I'd like to just expand on the hierarchical structure of that cabal, that people think it's just the ruling elite on the planet. Now, I explained that it goes to the moon, and I've explained that it then goes from the moon to Mars, and then from the Mars it goes out. And really the headquarters in our galaxy, which is really the local office galactic office of this cabal is in Orion, and I talked about that in Alnitak and the Orion Nordics. But where it goes from there, like who's their overlords? And you've got to realise that it goes outside of this galaxy. It goes intergalactic. And you get to these collectives. They're collective hive minds is what they are. They're very, very big and they're very, very powerful. And they have the ability to assimilate into them many races, extraterrestrial races. And they are controlled by entities who have spent a lot of time over eons of time collecting data, collecting genetics, and finding a way to manipulate and control life. So you just got to understand what we're up against here. We're dealing with eons and eons and eons of evolution in the universe. And that's what we're having thrown at us, is the best the universe has to offer, because we're about to graduate and become something incredible. And we're about to become human in the true sense of the word, which means a godly being of godly mind. So I just want to point that out to people.
That's very good. I always like to say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That actually holds true in a spiritual sense as well.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree with that statement, because what's been amazing too is I've had attempts on my life in ships and in various underground establishments and what have you. And what happened the majority of the time was my inner light came out and stopped what was happening. So I found that fascinating. And from those experiences, I want to share with everybody that you have an intended outcome to your journey. And I want you to know that each and every one of you is totally protected by your greater being. And so it's important to know that if this reality has an outcome, and if you know that you're a part of that outcome, nothing can touch you. And because people say, you're crazy. What are you doing getting up and saying the things that you're saying? Because we haven't even begun to talk about religion the way I talk about it, and things like that. I can get into the nitty-gritties of stuff like that. And it can really offend a lot of people. But the truth is, there's really only one great truth in the universe, and that's the way things are. And that concept that all truth is relative is another mind-bending philosophy. So nobody actually ever gets to connect with anything tangible and real. So, you guys, everybody out there is infinite. Pardon?
That's a huge deception. The saying that all truth is relative. It's something used to mislead people.
Oh, completely. Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's important to realize just how powerful and magnificent you are. You're infinite. And the life that you are having is because you wanted it. You chose it. You created it. And so there's a other part of you that made the decision. So Kerry didn't decide to incarnate. It was a higher part of Kerry. And George didn't decide to incarnate. It's a greater and deeper aspect of myself. So when you connect with those deeper and greater aspects of self, that's when you really start to become empowered. And then you've got a journey, and you move through this matrix in a different way. It's like the moment Neo in the Matrix went no, and he stopped those bullets. It's like in that moment you just know. You get to this point and you just know. You've got this knowing that you are here for a reason, and that you're in collaboration with the universal consciousness, and you break out of the fog, that you are vulnerable and that you are weak, and all of a sudden life around you changes. And it's very, very important to know this. This is like I'm giving people golden keys here, because once you know, and then everything around you changes because you've changed. When you change, everything, your whole reality changes.
George, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you again, because you just said another really important thing that is one of my pet concepts that I think gets bandied about and people do not understand. They do not give it the credence that it needs. The idea that we are knowers rather than that we need to go outside ourselves for authorities. And that's been ingrained in people from day one through the education system, et cetera, et cetera. And once a person starts changing that paradigm and recognizing themselves as a knower, everything changes. The entire dynamic of yourself in regard to the universe changes. And maybe you can talk about that, because you're basically talking about that already, but I think it bears going into.
Yeah, because once you understand that you made that decision to incarnate here, that you weren't lured here or you're fallen and all those other disempowering concepts and notions, that you made this journey. You're the composer, the orchestrator and the conductor of the life you are having. And it's about getting your earthly personality. So me, George, had to surrender this ego called George to the greater me, not to anything outside of me, but to the part of me that created this life.
I'm not sure. We seem to have lost.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, could you repeat that again? You started to say you are the composer, etc.
Yeah, it's important to know that we are the composers, the conductors and the creators, and the orchestrators and the conductors of the lives that we are having here. And so that we are, the notion that we are fallen, that we have been duped or manipulated into coming here is just a disempowering philosophy. That's all it is. And it's important to know that you are the one who is in control of your life. It is you who is controlling your course and destiny here. So it's about getting your earthly personality, like, for example, me, George, this part of me had to surrender to the greater me, not to surrender or give my power away to anything outside of me, but to the greater me, the part of me that is in conjunction with the rest of the universe. So your life then starts to harmonize because you start harmonizing. You start expressing and emanating this vibration that, hey, I'm back in sync with life. I'm back on the organic path and the organic unfoldment of life. And so you just move through this matrix in a very different way.